to any parent watching out there, young or old, first kid or fifth kid, or anyone caring for or parenting another, I promise you, you are doing so much better than you think you are. And I'm going to prove it to you with 3 things. Number 1, you are here. You're watching this. The title of this video probably resonated with you in some way, and that means you are probably very aware of all the mistakes that you feel you've made as a parent. You probably remember every single one of them and you overthink them massively. But what that means is you are open to growth, and that already puts you light years ahead in the process of parenting. The only parents who are not open to growth or think they've got it all sorted are those that are highly masking the dysfunction behind the scenes, or those that are simply delusional. And I know for a fact that you are neither of those. There are things that you regret. Yes, there are things that you know you need to change. There are behaviours that you have enacted with your children that are not in line with your highest values. But the thing is, you know that. And because you are aware of that, that means you know that you can change. And I promise you, there is no sell-by date on change. An awareness of what needs to change and what can change and the potential for you to grow is always the first step. And that leads me to the second reason of why I know that you are doing so much better than you think you are as a parent, is that you and your children have already been through so much together and you're still here. If you don't believe me, cast your mind back to a few years ago, or even a few months ago, or even a few weeks ago, to that thing that was happening with your kid that was filling every ounce of you with worry and you thought this is never going to end. It's past, hasn't it? And it's past because you and your child are strong and got through it together. You have the capacity, you have the resilience, and you have the power, and we are all rooting for you over here. And that leads me to the third reason why I know you're doing so much better than you think you are. And that's because you worry about your kids because you love your kids. And it shows in the fact that you are watching this, that you are thinking things through. This is natural living proof. And because you love your kids and you do care for them, it shows that you are a good enough parent already. And it shows that you worry about your kids, not because you're a bad parent, but because you care. But here's the warning today. An overabundance of worries can turn a good parent sour. Because worries unchecked and not dealt with can grow and start to take over our ability to be present with our kids, which is the very thing we're worried about in the first place. And that's because we often turn our worries about our kids back onto ourselves and use it as some sort of ammunition to beat ourselves up with. Instead of challenges to be overcome together, they turn into markers of our personal failure, and it drives our nervous systems wild, which causes us to be dysregulated, which might cause us to snap again, and then we're in this constant repeating cycle. So each time worries turn into judgments and that critical voice rears its head, we need to drop it, we need to let it go. But how do we do that? There's so many great ways of beginning to deal with these things, but a classic psychological tool is the idea of noting. It's something that you'll find in mindfulness and in therapeutic sessions. And the idea is to step back from your current situation and notice the thought and notice the worry and the feeling and the judgment as a story. So when that judgment comes, you're not doing good enough, you're not a good enough parent, you're messing everything up, your kid's future is on the line, you step back from it and say, oh, there's that thought again, there's that story, and you just let it go past on the river. This kind of thing is really helpful for stopping you spiraling or going further into those judgmental thoughts or that critical voice, or starting to listen to the story and believe it. And speaking of therapy, if you are finding that your worries about your children and your judgments on yourself are getting all-consuming, they're getting out of hand, then this might need to be a therapy thing. Therapy is a big part of our family life, and myself and my partner are in therapy each week working these things out. And that's given us so many great tools and so much language in rebuilding after rupture and understanding one another. And most importantly, it's helped us to work on ourselves so that we can show up as the parents that we want to be for our son. You begin to write a new guidebook for yourself and for your own capabilities. And maybe you never had a model of what a regulated parent or an adult looked like growing up. Maybe all the adults in your life were so caught up in their own stories that you essentially raised yourself. You are rewriting your own narrative. And that, my friend, is bloody huge. That is amazing. And that means that you can have self-compassion as a parent. Because with all you've been through, no wonder that it's sometimes difficult. As the author and children's advocate Cindy Wang Brandt says, the greatest job of parenting is not parenting our children, but parenting ourselves. And as you go slowly, day by day, on that journey to becoming a more conscious, kind, and whole parent, just remember this: your kids don't need a parent who continuously judges themselves. And your kids don't need an imaginary perfect parent either. What your kids need is you. They simply need a parent who does the work of showing up for themselves, and a parent who's willing to make those slow, gradual changes and who is compassionate towards themselves. And you can be that. Parent, you are doing great, and I believe in you.